ceremony is Commander 505th Test and Training Group, Colonel Francisco Galay. I'd like to extend a special welcome to Lieutenant Colonel Christianson's wife, Sarah, to Lieutenant Colonel Bryan's wife, Tracy, daughters Haley and Alyssa Bryan, Lieutenant Colonel Bryan's parents, Lieutenant Colonel Gary Bryan, United States Air Force retired, and wife Connie Bryan, Mrs. Bryan's parents, Master Sergeant Preston Hammerbacher, United States Air Force retired, wife Terry Hammerbacher, and their granddaughter Jayla. Unable to attend today, their son, Senior Airman Christopher Bryan. We'd also like to welcome friends of the family, Colonel Daniel Harris, Director of Safety, Air Force Special Operations Command, Senior Master Sergeant Lance Hendricks, retired, United States Air Force, his wife Olivia, and their daughter Fiona. We also would like to welcome the Commander, 505th Command and Control Wing, Colonel Richard Dickens and his wife Krista, the Vice Commander, 505th Command and Control Wing, Colonel Carl Weinbricht, the Command Chief, 505th Command and Control Wing, Chief Master Sergeant Cornelius Thompson, the Executive Director of Operations, 505th Command and Control Wing, Mr. Jim Askins, as well as friends and members of the Hurlburt Field Community and the 705th Training Squadron. Today, the men and women of the 705th Training Squadron pay special tribute as Lieutenant Colonel John Christianson relinquishes command to Lieutenant Colonel Marcus Bryan as he assumes command. The change of command ceremony is rooted in military history dating back to the 18th century during the reign of King Frederick the Great of Prussia. During this time, organizational flags were developed with color arrangements and symbols unique to each particular unit. To this flag and its commander, the soldiers of the unit would dedicate their loyalty and trust. When a change of command was to take place, the outgoing commander would pass the flag to the individual assuming command. This gesture was accomplished in front of the unit so that all could see and witness the new leader assuming his dutiful position. He who controlled the flag also controlled the soldiers and their allegiances. This tradition has survived throughout military history. The change in position through the transfer of the flag symbolizes a change in command of the 705th Training Squadron. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remain standing for the arrival of the official party, the presentation of the colors, the playing of the national anthem, and the invocation by Chaplain West. If you'd like, please pray with me.
Expertise as a 705th commander, and his distinguished service and outstanding leadership and faithful devotion to God and country have been a model for his airmen and his peers. As it was written in the Psalms long ago, a man of this character is like a tree planted by streams of water, which yields its fruit in season and whose leaves do not wither. Wherever they go, they prosper. We ask for your continued guidance as Lieutenant Colonel Christianson and Sarah in their transition and new adventure in the new chapter in their lives, that they'll be full of joy and happiness. May you continue to bless the Christianson family all the days of their lives. Likewise, we ask that you give grace to Lieutenant Colonel Marcus Bryan as he assumes command of the 705th. We're also thankful for his years of dedication to the United States Air Force, and we look forward to a continued tradition of excellence under his leadership. May his command here be designed by vision and wisdom and a care for his people. We pray for peace as well for Tracy and the girls as they support Lieutenant Colonel Bryan and the airmen and the civilians of the 705th. And now, today, as we remember past accomplishments and look forward to future achievements, may you continue to bless all of us, the United States Air Force, and this great country. In your holy name, amen.
Thank you, Chaplain West. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. It is my pleasure to introduce the members of the official party. The presiding officer for today's ceremony is the commander, 505th Test and Training Group, Colonel Francisco Galay. The commander of the 705th Training Squadron, Lieutenant Colonel John Christianson. The incoming commander for the 705th Training Squadron, Lieutenant Colonel Marcus Bryan. Ladies and gentlemen, Colonel Galay will now give his remarks.
All right, good afternoon. First of all, thank you to Lieutenant Colonel Wallace, Lieutenant Colonel Ziska, Major Perkins, Sergeant Brown, and the team, Linda, Deb, and Keith for putting this together, and Chaplain West, thank you for that wonderful invocation. Distinguished guests, Colonel and Mrs. Dickens, Chief Thompson, Colonel Weinbrecht, Mr. Askins, commanders and senior enlisted leaders, and most importantly, from that group, the men and women of the 705th TRS. But in such a special occasion, the most important guests are the family members. So I'd like to also personally welcome Sarah Christianson, Tracy, Haley, and Alyssa Bryan, and their son, Airman First Class Christopher Bryan, who's not here, but watching his dad assume command virtually. Very special day for the family. Also, Lieutenant Colonel Bryan's parents, Army Lieutenant Colonel retired Gary and Connie Bryan, and Tracy's parents, U.S. Marine Corps Master Sergeant, retired Preston and Terry Hammerbacher. And for those Air Force folks who don't know Marine Corps ranks, that's not an Air Force Master Sergeant, that's an E8. Welcome to the family, to this very special occasion. So today, the unit, known throughout the Air Force for training JFACs and conducting advanced operational C2 training and developing and training the newest Air Force AFSC, the 13 Oscars, are saying goodbye to an old commander, Lieutenant Colonel John Limey Christianson, and welcoming a new commander, Lieutenant Colonel Marcus Troll Bryan. So looking at the 705th's accomplishments over the last 2 years, it's apparent that Lieutenant Colonel Christianson and his team have done a lot. They've contributed immensely to the command and control world. The squadron has not stood still, making a tremendous impact in several areas. Under Limey's steadfast leadership, the 705th TRS has continued to be recognized throughout the world for its command and control expertise. They've continued to grow the senior mentor program from 9 to 13 retired general officers. Limey himself has been a great example by getting out there and teaching. It's good for both permanent party and for students who are out there to see their leadership teaching the ideas and the concepts that they're teaching, that they're charged with teaching to our warfighters. He's a recognized expert. His team not only executed the first 13 Oscar course, but they've completed 4 iterations of that course in the last 2 years, after building the course in 6 months instead of the traditional 24. And they've continued to make it better over those 2 years. It's continued to be a big lift for the squadron, the wing, the Air Force, and the Joint Force. He's been in the lead, the vanguard of developing the group and wing weapons and tactics shop. His team has spearheaded the Wing's Mobile ACE training team, where they've trained 2 wings and over 60 airmen on staff duties, influencing emerging TTPs. And as we're aware of for the pandemic, he's been out front mitigating the COVID risk, securing PPE when this happened, redirecting 7,700 hours of training over 38 courses, and continuing to provide critical C2 training to our warfighters. And that effort led to still being able to train about 80% of the throughput despite the pandemic. It's a phenomenal accomplishment. And finally, and most importantly in my mind, you've led your squadron. You've gotten it the resources that it's needed. These accomplishments that I've talked about, Limey, are just a few, and we'll formally hear a few more here in a few minutes. But clearly, you've had your hands full, staying constantly engaged, training warfighters around the world, so full, in fact, that your squadron has grown and expanded to take on new tasks. And you, as a commander, have worked tirelessly to get those resources. And your squadron has grown by 150% in just 2 years from a manning perspective. Quite a phenomenal rate of growth, but a testament to your effort to get your team the resources it needs to do what it's been tasked to do. So we'll be sorry to lose you, Limey. You've been a driving force in advancing many of the operational C2 issues in this wing. However, the 705th TRS is going to gain a truly outstanding leader in Troll. Your time as the Director of Operations in the 505th has, I think, prepared you well to take over the 705th TRS. You clearly understand all the fundamentals of C2 training from the FTU level to advanced operational C2 concepts. You've shown the traits of great leadership. You listen, you respect and value your team, and you're keen on giving them the tools and guidance necessary to successfully accomplish your mission. I also have no doubt that you'll bring your own ideas and perspectives to this command, and after 2 years, it will have your fingerprints on there. Without a doubt, there's still much to do, still much to accomplish, despite the advancements that have been made in operational C2 in the last 2 years. So men and women of the 705th TRS, you can be confident knowing that you're getting an outstanding new commander in Troll. Remember, you've heard me say it a million times, the strength of our organization and our nation is our people. I have no doubt and expect nothing but excellence in the coming years from both Limey and Troll and the men and women of the 705th TRS. Congratulations to both you and your families. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. At this time, Colonel Goliah will present the Meritorious Service Medal to Lieutenant Colonel Christianson. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand.
Publish the order.
Attention orders. Lieutenant Colonel John A. Christianson distinguished himself in the performance of outstanding service to the United States as the commander, 705th Training Squadron, 505th Test and Training Group, 505th Command and Control Wing, Hurlburt Field, Florida. During this period, Colonel Christianson led a squadron of 102 military, civilian, and contract personnel, providing advanced operational level air component training to component headquarters and air operations centers. Colonel Christianson managed a $13 million budget, 14 advanced air operations center and Air Force Forces courses, as well as the Air Force's operational command, training, and senior mentor programs, providing training to 3,500 command and control operators. Furthermore, Colonel Christianson oversaw the Chief of Staff of the Air Force's historic initiative to create the service's newest officer career field, including Joint All-Domain Command and Control instruction for the Air Force's first 84 multi-domain warfare officers. His leadership was integral in the development of 393 academic hours and 221 hours of practical exercises for the 13-0 Initial Skills Training Course. Finally, Colonel Christianson pioneered the development of the 505th Command and Control Wing's first ever weapons and tactics shop, enabling tactics integration across the wing, and created the inaugural 13-0 instructor upgrade training process, ensuring viability of the new career field. The singularly distinctive accomplishments of Colonel Christianson reflect great credit upon himself and the United States Air Force. Thank you, Colonel Galai. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. At this time, I'd like to welcome the commander, 705th Training Squadron, Lieutenant Colonel Christianson, to provide remarks.
Thanks. Hey, it worked that time. It took us a while to get this to work back there. Thanks, everybody, for coming. Thanks, Colonel Galai, for the words. Made it sound easy, but it's a team sport. So everybody says change of command speeches. You say, thank you on the way in and save your remarks for the way out. But I think you got to say thank you on the way out, too, because I couldn't have done any of this. And in fact, I didn't do any of this. That's how the chain of command works, right? I provided some guidance, some ideas, and the team did more with it than I could have ever done on my own. But first and foremost, I want to thank my wife, Sarah. You're my inspiration every day. You keep me grounded. You think you know how a command tour is going to work, and it doesn't always work out that way, but you've been awesome. For those of you who don't know, she was in a pretty major accident right after I took command, almost, only a couple months later. But seeing you come back from that and your drive to be even better than you were before is just amazing. So it makes my problem seem small, so thank you. Traditionally, you give flowers to the spouse on the way out. However, the movers are in a minute, so hopefully the new paddle boards are enough. I did think it'd be funny to make Zippy proffer a paddle board, but I let him off the hook. A little bit of grace on my way out. But, to the wing leadership, thanks for being here. Thanks for your support, Colonel and Mrs. Dickens, Chief. Thanks for everything you've done. Colonel Weinbrecht, thanks as well. It's been 10 years, I think, and a lot of miles since Nellis, both literally and figuratively. So, but it has been good to work with you again, at least for a little bit. It's been I used to be able to just call you Shiz, right? But and huge, thanks for helping me navigate the civilian personnel system. Things they don't teach you in the commander's course. It's a great resource for anybody coming in. Hint on how to navigate that. So, thanks for all your help there. Colonel Galai, again, thanks for the words. Thanks for your leadership, your mentorship. And the latitude you've given me in the squadron to work on big problems that have Air Force level impact. Even in areas where other people might micromanage, you gave your guidance and let me go with it, so I appreciate that. Every commander thinks their front office team is great, and I'll thank them all a little bit later on, but I do want to specifically thank Cougar, my DO. You've been awesome. You think about what's happened over this time that she's been in the squadron. She came in halfway through the first 13 Oscar course when we're at a full sprint, growing. Graduation night, suddenly I'm gone for a few months because the family situation, so she had to step up and take over there. And then we get back and roll right into a pandemic. So, and she's handled it with grace and skill the whole time. You're going to make an amazing commander when you take command next week. The 505th doesn't know how lucky they are yet. So thanks for everything you've done. To the Wise Owls as a whole, you guys are awesome. I am humbled to have been part of this squadron and everything you've done. Colonel Galai talked about some of them, but I can't hit them all, unfortunately. There's just so much that has happened the last 2 years. But just some of the highlights with DOA, our advanced academics flight, running into the pandemic and pioneering some of that virtual learning to the point you heard the 80% overall, but there were some courses that we actually produced more graduates during the pandemic because of some of those innovative things that we were doing. To DOT, our OTs, you guys have, your job's out on the road, and you weren't able always to get out there on the road during the pandemic, but seeing the ways you guys have innovated and kept relevant and kept involved in the field and spreading that expertise that we're known for out there has been awesome. For DOO, Operational Warfare, that's our 13 Oscar flight is what they're primarily known for, but what you don't see is some of the other things that go on in the background and some of the amazing things they're doing that 13 Oscar sometimes overshadows. We are about ready to start in a couple of months our first ever coalition C2 WAC, so getting some of our allies into one of our advanced courses. So we're just pushing that through and keeping that ball going throughout everything is amazing. For underpinning all of that is DOS, our support flight. I couldn't do any of that without the registrars, without the senior mentor team, without all the people doing the budgetary stuff, just keeping the squadron running despite everything going on. It's been amazing to see. And OTD, our Silos development guys, talk about a huge move they had to do over the last few years with 13 Oscar in 6 months, which takes 24. We sprung another new course on them, the 13 Oscar instructor upgrade, that we're catching up on that. They'll probably be cursing my name for a couple more months on that one, but they've just done a huge move and an awesome job getting that done. Lastly, OSK, again, awesome job there. They have taken what started out as a small idea of like, hey, we should have something that we're outreaching to the 13 Oscars in the field to spin into a squadron weapons and tactics shop, and then it became a group, and now it's up at the wing level, making big change across the wing. So again, I'm just amazed by everything that's happened throughout the whole team, military, civilian, and contractor. It's just been an awesome thing to watch. Like I said, I'm humbled to have been part of the team, and I'm proud to have been called an owl for the time I was here. Troll, I'm leaving it in your capable hands. Best of luck. No pressure. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Lieutenant Colonel Christianson. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the change of command ceremony.
Publish the order.
Attention to orders. Under the provisions of AFI 51-604 and Special Order Number GA21-11, Lieutenant Colonel John Christianson relinquishes command of the 705th Training Squadron to Lieutenant Colonel Marcus Bryan, effective 4 June 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to introduce the commander of the 705th Training Squadron, Lieutenant Colonel Marcus Bryan. Please be seated. Mrs. Bryan has joined Colonel Galai and Lieutenant Colonel Bryan on stage to pin on the commander's badge. Thank you, Colonel Galai and Mrs. Bryan. Lieutenant Colonel Bryan, the floor is yours.
Mic check. You good? Yeah. Awesome. Hey, thanks for everybody coming out here. It's a big day for Limey and Sarah. I just want to say thank you so much for what you've done with the squadron, and you set us up for success and made a solid foundation. Real quick, I'd like to Major Perkins, Chaplain West, Zippy, Leisha, Tech Sergeant Brown, from the get-go, they reached out, they took care of me, and they're still taking care of me, and I'm super excited to be working with this team. Wing leadership, Colonel Dickens, Mr. Dickens, Mr. Askins, Chief, Colonel Weinbrecht, thank you for coming. It means a lot that you're a busy group, and you guys would take time to come out and see us. All right. Honey, thanks for coming out here. You had to come. She's here for the cupcakes. She loves cake. Girls, thanks for coming out here. You look very beautiful. Mom and Pa, thanks for coming out here. Jayla, Mom and Dad, thanks for coming out here. Yeah, hua, got some hua. We're a joint TFI family. And Lance and Olivia, thanks for coming out here. Lance, we crewed jets at Eglin in 1995. Yeah, it's crazy. By Providence, I don't know how I got paired up with this guy, but he showed me what excellence looked like on a practical, and how to be a great airman and a wingman. So I didn't get to go to your retirement, so I just want to say publicly thank you for all the stuff. I probably wouldn't be up here, all the the time and a half to work out. Thank you so much for your mentorship. Colonel Harris, thanks for you're a very busy man. Thanks for coming out here. He was a senior captain. I think I was just put on captain. We flew together, and at the time he's like, "Yeah, you should be the exec." And I'm like, "No way!" But really, that was a huge move for me because I learned how to take care of airmen because regulars get promoted, right? And so I learned all those skill sets, and that really projected me through taking care of airmen, learning how to write. So I just want to say thank you for coming out here, and let me get to my note card real quick so I don't forget anything. Colonel Goliath. That's why you have these note cards, right? Colonel Goliath. Really, the vote of confidence. This is command is the pinnacle of military service, in my opinion. To lead a elite C2 organization is one thing, and then you throw on top of that 13 Oscar to be able to mold the future of what that looks like. That's huge. So I really appreciate your leadership under about the year and a half I've been here. Thanks for hiring me as a DO. It's awesome, and I appreciate your vote of confidence in me, and I can't wait for the next 2 years, what that brings in the future. Colonel Diggins, thanks. There's a lot of 13 Oscars that are getting a chance to command, so I just want to say thank you to the wing leadership to invest in our career field. They're saying a lot. We got Cougar coming up. We had Foxy Brown coming in. We got 2 outstanding 13 Oscars, DOs that are rolling in. So that investment in our career field, that's sending a signal to the force out there that this wing is willing to invest in us and give us that chance. And I really appreciate that opportunity to be part of that, making history. So this is about Limey and the Wise Owls and Sarah and their contributions. This is a great time to pause and reflect on those things. But there's a lot of hard work and challenges ahead. And we'll get through it together through many examples, especially with Colonel Goliath and Spike. I don't know if you're back there. I think you're in the shadow in the back. Great example of empowering airmen to get things done. Innovation is how we get it done, through airman power. And we're going to integrate inside the squadron, inside the group, inside the wing, because there's no extra airmen. We have to maximize our airmen and their capability. And there's so much talent just on this campus alone. That's the decisive point, is integration. So thank you very much between you and your Friday and cupcakes. I appreciate everybody coming out here. Looking forward to working with all the Wise Owls and see what the future brings. So, fights on.
We, the men and women, both past and present of the 705th Training Squadron, are proud to have served Lieutenant Colonel Christianson and wish you, Sarah, Matthew, Abby, Gabe, and Nezzy every success in your future endeavors. We'd like to congratulate Lieutenant Colonel Bryan and his family and look forward to your leadership. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the playing of the Air Force song and the departure of the official party.